Picture this, a legendary leader, at the very end of his life, gives one last, absolutely critical speech to his people. You'd think it would be all encouragement and go get 'em, right? Well, what if instead he gave them a shocking, flat-out rejection? We're about to dive into an incredible story from the book of Joshua that has this powerful lesson about what it really means to make a promise.
All right, so here's the scene. We're in Joshua chapter 24. The leader, Joshua, he gathers the entire nation of Israel, and he's not giving them an order. He's laying out a choice for them, a seemingly simple choice, but one that is going to define their entire future.
And this is the challenge he lays down in verse 15. Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. This is a huge moment. It's this powerful call to make a real, conscious, deliberate decision. He's basically saying, hey, the ball is in your court. The choice is all yours.
Now get this, the weight behind that one little Hebrew word for choose, bahar. It's fascinating. The text uses the exact same word that's used back in Deuteronomy to describe God choosing Israel in the first place. So this just cranks up the pressure, right? It shows how big of a deal their response is. They're totally free to say no, but the word itself connects their choice right back to their very identity as a people.
So, you have this monumental choice hanging in the air, with all this historical and divine weight behind it. How do the people respond? Do they take a minute? Do they debate it? Nope, not for a second. Their answer, which you can read in verses 16 through 18, is immediate, it's enthusiastic, and it's totally decisive. They start listing off the reasons, He brought us out of slavery in Egypt, He performed these incredible signs for us, and most importantly, He is our God. It's this powerful, confident declaration of who they are and who they're with. And they put a cap on it with this definitive statement, a perfect, unwavering promise. Now at this point, you'd expect Joshua to be thrilled, right? Maybe do a little victory lap, say, excellent, my work here is done. After a response like that, such a clear affirmation of loyalty, you're just waiting for the words of encouragement. But that is not what happens. The entire conversation takes this radical, unexpected turn. He just says no. Can you believe it? In one of the most stunning moments of leadership you'll ever read, Joshua flat out rejects their heartfelt promise. It's a total 180. Then in verse 19, he completely flips the script. He stops talking about the gracious, saving God of their past, and he paints this picture of a demanding, holy God who is not easy to serve. He warns them that forgiveness isn't some automatic get-out-of-jail-free card, it's intense. And this is the big puzzle here, right? Why would you push back against the very thing you asked for? It seems totally backward. But the answer is that Joshua is playing devil's advocate for a critically important reason. He isn't trying to discourage them. He's trying to forge a commitment that will actually last. You see, Joshua's strategy here is all about history. He has a long memory. He knows all about the instability of the previous generation, their parents, and he is determined not to see those same mistakes happen all over again. I mean, think about it. Their parents' generation made almost the exact same promise way back in Exodus chapter 19. They said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do. And what happened next? Well, as we see in Exodus 32, almost immediately they're down at the foot of the mountain worshiping a golden calf. The words were barely out of their mouths. Joshua knows that easy promises can be broken just as easily. So, by playing this devil's advocate role, Joshua is making sure their commitment is built on three absolutely essential pillars. He's not just looking for a quick yes. He's pushing for a yes that is informed, that is owned, and that is realistic. First, he needs them to make a serious decision. They have to get the full weight of this choice. This isn't just some casual agreement. This promise is going to shape their entire nation, and failure has real, devastating consequences. Second, it has to be a personal decision. This commitment has to be genuinely theirs, coming from their own hearts. It can't just be something they say to please their dying leader. It's got to outlive him and his influence for generations. And third, it has to be a humble decision. Joshua needs them to understand that they can't actually fulfill this huge promise on their own strength. It's just not possible. It's going to require humility and a real reliance on a personal relationship, not just checking boxes and following rules. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. What's the big takeaway from this really tense interaction between a leader and his people? What does this ancient negotiation teach us today? It turns out Joshua's shocking rejection wasn't a rejection at all. It was actually a masterclass in leadership.
It was a tool he used to forge a stronger, more realistic, and more durable commitment. He's teaching us that a true promise requires you to understand the full cost, that great leaders will test your resolve to make it stronger, and that real allegiance is always about a relationship, not just a verbal contract.
And that leaves us with a pretty critical question to think about in our own lives, doesn't it? Whether it's in our relationships, our jobs, our personal convictions, is a promise we make really genuine if we haven't first been forced to stare the full, unvarnished cost of keeping it right in the face? It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks for joining us.